Hello everyone, my name is Nicole Farguharson, also known aka as Acid Rain. It's my DJ name. I'm a DJ, a evocateur of the possible, and a midwife of souls. That's my label. No one else's but mine. So I'm not being called anything other than, and will not accept anything other than. I was born with what I like to call the gift of spina bifida. I'm 36 now. At the age of 5 years old, I would have to say, well, actually before I was 2, I had 2 surgeries to correct my feet, as my feet were touching my shins. And the doctors told me that, they told my mom I would never walk. I would probably never do the things that a normal child would do, such as run, participate in things. After I had the surgeries, I also had a surgery on my back as well to try and correct the curvature, which didn't work. But it wasn't long after I started to walk, and then I started to run, and then all hell broke loose. I had braces for the first couple of years until I was about 6 years old, and then I lost those and continued on track on my own. At probably the age of 8 or 9, I was just doing the things that every normal kid at 8 or 9 would do. I was very influenced by music at a young age, so I started banging on pots and pans, and that's where my love for the drums came in. And I lived a pretty regular life. I got beat up by my brothers. I mean, hey, that's the way it goes. We just lived. That was our thing. I rode bikes. I built bicycles at the time. I went to school. I was very, very, very much teased. Very much. There was not a day that didn't go by that I was not teased. My mom pulled me out of primary school because of her concerns of, I guess, society's look, or kids' look, rather. And I did some homeschooling for a while, and then we decided, you know, life has just got to go on. So I just continued doing my thing. A support system. I had a major support system. It was very important to me, and still is. My brothers, I just cannot thank them enough for being there. They never let on that anything was wrong, so therefore I always thought that it was something that I would grow out of. And upon the age of maybe 12, 13, I took note that no, this is here to stay, whatever it is, and I had to then accept it. I think acceptance is a hard thing, and the acceptance for me wholeheartedly didn't come until much later. But I just rode life out. I did what I had to do. I got into, like I said, building bicycles, tearing them down, remaking them how I like, hanging out on the blocks with the boys, just doing all the necessary things to grow my mind, body, and spirit. And at age 18, I went to the doctor for back pains. They put me on morphine. They put me on all the goods. And they then told my mom that I was 17 years old. They told my mom that I would not live until the age of 18. I'm 36 now, I'll be 37 next month. I think the biggest shock for me then was them telling me that I would never have kids, because I'm passionate about children. I love kids. And that was actually the blow for me. It wasn't the whole die at 18, which was a few weeks from my 18th birthday. And when 18 hit, I figured, well, guess I got some celebrating to do. So I partied a lot. And I had a great friend circle, still do. I got out. I just did not want to be held back anymore by what society thought and what I allowed society to put into my mind for me to then think about myself. So I started going out, because I was always very shy. I wouldn't get out of the car. I didn't want people to point and laugh and do this. And my brothers were always overprotective of me with that. But when I started going out clubbing, nobody really cared. Everyone just, I went into the clubs, people respected me, and they still do to this day, and I'm very grateful to them for that. I was just known as the partier. I went out and I truly and honestly did live. Sometimes a little too much. But I went back to the doctor again by about 21, 22, and they told me that, okay, you made it through 18, but 25, you know, it's looking like your time. So I took that in stride. Again, I think that was when that settled in, that part of, is this it? And then, you know, when life and death comes into play, it tends to make us think differently, and we want to sort things out and get right, I guess, with our creator, or however you want to put it. I thought all of that stuff, and I thought even more, I should do some more partying. So I went out there and I did extra curricular activities. And again, I still had a great friend circle. It never stopped me, but I got even more heavily into music. And by that time, I was playing the drums, and writing came into play. I started to write poetry. I didn't even know I had that side of me, actually. I guess when you're told certain things, after a while it sinks in. Your purpose and your creativity comes into play somewhere along the line. And mine did with writing. So I started writing and getting everything out on paper, every single thing. And I did notice at the time that for someone that can run around, I'm very fortunate, I have to say, still to this day. There are still a lot of things that we lack here on the island. One is compassion, one is understanding. But luckily, like I said, I was around a group of people that just did not allow me to sit and wallow in self-pity for too long. So once I started writing music and poetry, I then picked up the cello. I taught myself the cello. And I knew that I wanted to do more with life. I just didn't know what exactly. So I continued writing and I started traveling. And I was invited to India at that time to co-direct, because I'm also interested in film. Film is my thing. I love movies. I love everything about movies, how they're made, everything. And I had connected with a great friend of mine on Facebook, and she invited me to India to co-direct a documentary on Calcutta. And I went, and that was the breaking point for me. Completely changed my life. Like it opened up everything. Not just my mind, but my body and my spirit. Because at that point, I've never been the giving up type. I'm always that one to push just a few more times just to see what else would go wrong, or to see what can go right. So when I got there, my mind was just shifted. There was a few years earlier on that my left leg began giving some trouble. And I was getting out of the car, my hip popped, so I figured, okay, is it time to party again? So I got a cane, which was, I guess, a long time coming, but I didn't want it. And right now, it's my mission to put that down. Like, I'm determined to put that down. I've already begun rehabilitation on myself, and I see major improvement. So I know that's not that long before I drop that and continue on with life. But I got to India, and I got into meditation. And my writing took a whole other turn. And I started working on a book, actually 2 books. One in particular. It's going to be more of a autobiographical thing. But when I came back home, I started traveling some more after that. But in traveling, like I said before, I realized how much of a lack we have here on the island. And major for me, it's a lack of understanding. You have people that'll point, that'll laugh, that'll do this or do that, and that's fine. People will be people. That's just them at the end of the day. And they can only react with the knowledge that they have at that time toward that particular situation, which is okay. But we've had slight improvements. We put ramps here and there for people that need wheelchairs. But now that I'm older, I can see how much is not done. There's not a community with a togetherness to hold, or to embrace rather, to love and to take care of people that are different, if you want to call it that, people with special needs. As I've said before, I don't attach myself any longer to the word disability, because I believe that is a very, to me, crippling word. When you attach yourself to that, you disassociate yourself from your ability to be who you really are. I do know that life goes on behind closed doors, out here in the open, and I would like to form a committee or be a part of something that allows people to know that it's okay to be different. If you want that title, go ahead and take that. That's all on you. But it's okay to be who you are. And it's okay to step out into the light, create your own light, and shine that on other people. That being give them some understanding on who you are, what it is you need. Don't be afraid to ask for something. That's something, that ship has sailed for me a long time ago. I was always, oh no, I don't want to ask this person for that or to reach this or the next thing. I just don't care anymore. I've hit that point where it's like, hey, look here, you can get that up on the shelf for me, thanks. I'll see you later. We have to get past that, and I think our self-talk, what has worked tremendously for me, is if you can find humor in your self-talk, that's it. That to me is the key, because you handle yourself with a bit more care as opposed to tearing yourself down. But as I said before, we are in desperate need of something, a movement, a community, a family, which can allow people to be them. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, it doesn't matter. I think we can and need to involve the government in the understanding of what is needed here in order to make not just this island, but every island, and then eventually the world work better and have a better understanding of what it takes to be us. People that are looked at differently. And I think we should just get out and do it. Now, I'm not sure exactly how everyone else feels about it, but we can start coming up with ideas. I encourage that. I blanked out there just now. Completely blanked out. We really need to start coming up with ideas, just things that we know that's needed, even if it's an individual person or persons as a togetherness, as a whole. We need a better bus service that can attend to people with wheelchairs, crutches, or canes, or whatever it is. We need more access to places that are built with the knowledge of, listen, there are people that are going to walk in my door that other people may not look at as being normal. What is normal exactly anyway? No one knows. But when they walk in here, I want them to feel at home, because I think that's what's missing. And not just for us, but for your everyday run-of-the-mill people as well. As I spoke of before with compassion, that's something that's really lacking. I think we need to get out there more as a community to let people hear our voice, to let them know that we're here, to let them know that we exist and we intend on existing and living, so they just as well join and not just continue to point, because it's not going to make sense. I mean, the cool kids are over here. If y'all want to be over there and point, that's fine, but you're missing out on the action. But as I said, life is to be lived. To me, that's how I feel. I love to build motorcycles now. I've moved on from bicycles. I love to travel. I love to read. I love to swim, boat, jet ski. Jet skiing is a serious weakness I have. Oh boy. Anything fast, I'm interested in it. And I learned in 2015 that that's not actually what gives me my adrenaline pump. What pumps my adrenaline is being kind and being honest with people, making people laugh, giving, being in people's lives and helping them to do better, which then helps me to do better. That is actually what makes my adrenaline go nuts.
From the conversations we have had, few, What do you think, or would you like to advise to parents of persons who have spinal bifida, and not just spinal bifida, but any other challenge in a wider scope? Because we both understand the concept that parents can also be an impetus, or also be the blocking, in your life as someone who grew up with a disability. And also, more importantly, because I know several people who have spinal bifida, especially females. I think from what I've seen with you, I'd like you to speak about how you view your limitations, or if you even have any limitations. Because what I really want is to inspire them. Because I've seen too many people who just hang on to the fact that, oh, I have spinal bifida. Not the fact that, oh, I'm here and I'm going to do the best I can while I'm here.
I don't think we're taught to do the best that we can. We're taught to live. We're just taught to be here, and at some point, okay, you're going to go over there and do whatever it is you need to do that, but just be careful. My mom was very overprotective of me until I hit about 8 or 9, and she gave me my first spank. I will never forget that day. And she spanked me on my legs and kind of like had this look like, oh, and I didn't break. So that for her was like, oh, that means you could get more of this. Because I was never, I never, at that age, limitations to me, they didn't exist, that as of now. I think parents really, 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 if you don't, and it's okay, like I said, it's okay to ask for what you need. But I think it's okay to sit down and have a talk, have an open and honest talk, and let your kids know that, yes, you are afraid for them, but let them live. Let them fall. Let them get up. Offer your hand, of course. So please don't just stand there, but offer your hand. And don't project your fears onto them, because then it becomes our limits, our limitations that we then place on ourselves that we think are actually our own, but it's not. It's all due to the parents. So first, sit and have an open conversation with yourself and then your child. Anyone that has spinal bifida or any other disability, I recommend writing down at least 3 things that you're afraid of doing because of your gift. I don't like the word condition. I don't like the word, as I said, disability. Write down 3 things that you're afraid to do, and then write down the reasons you're afraid to do it, and sit down and really examine that and see where that takes you, because it will take you outside of that fear, which is only, fear can't really even be experienced. It's just a perception that we have that first starts with the mind. And surround yourself with people that will take you outside of your gift. I didn't know what that meant until I found my friend circle. You're going to run through people that are just there, and then there will be people that will stand with you. And when I say that, I mean they will take you out of your gift in the sense of there's nothing wrong with you. Because there isn't. These are people that will not only tell you that there's nothing wrong with you, they will show you that there's nothing wrong with you. They build bridges that, if you're lucky enough, and you will be, before you get to that space, that bridge has already been built for you to see that, hey, you know, we told you, just come on out and enjoy the air. And back to parents again. I watched my mom go through a lot of mental suffering because she thought that she failed me in some way. And it's choking me up right now. And that I get. It's something that as a parent I can only imagine that it's tough, because you feel like you did everything right, or how could you have done this or that? What could you have done differently? The fact is, what has been done is done. We're put on this earth to teach people. And we're also put on this earth to learn. Once you begin to teach, you can say goodbye to fear. It no longer exists. So, for parent to child, teach each other. For the child, be open and tell your parents what it is that you want, what it is that you need, and sometimes what it is that you expect. Don't allow yourself to be treated and pampered in certain ways, or you will never, ever step outside of your own box that you put on yourself. Personally, I don't own a box. I don't think I ever did. If I did, I would still live outside of it. But just don't be afraid to be. And be... Just sit and take your own presence in. I don't think we do that enough. We get in the mirror if we're lucky enough. I had stopped looking in the mirror from age 14 until I was 33 years old. The only place I would look to was here to here, and that was to put on eyeliner, lipstick, I'm out. And then at the age 33, I crossed my reflection in the glass one day walking past a store, and I had to literally stop, and I just busted out crying immediately. I was like, why is it that I'm afraid to look at myself? It's because of listening to other people's judgments, limitations, quotations, everything that they chose to put me in, and I took it on as my own. And when I said, just sit and be, sit, be quiet, be still, and notice what your soul tells you, not what your mind tells you. Your mind's going to tell you a lot of stuff. That's a whole different video. But don't be afraid to be with you, because a lot of times we hang out around people, or we're around people that we don't like just because we need company, because we don't want to see ourselves. I would advise sitting in the mirror. Parents, please join in this practice. Please make it a practice. It's an everyday thing. As a female, we look at magazines, we watch TV shows, we see the whole nine about how the perfect woman should look. There is no such thing as perfection. If you're seeking it, you will die seeking it, because you will never find it. Be your own woman, be your own man, and be your own soul. Don't be afraid to step up to the plate. Take whatever criticism comes your way, but sit in the mirror, because the toughest critic you will ever come by is your own reflection. And I was taught that. It was a brutal hit to the face for me. But I went home. I immediately sat down in front of the mirror. I always wore baggy clothes. From the time I could remember myself, I was just in things that almost looked like if I put my head in my shirt, there was nobody in there. There's just a pile of clothes. And I got butt-ass naked in front of the mirror. I wanted to see everything. I wanted to see what it was that I disliked so much. And to be honest with you, I saw parts of myself that I never even looked at. Now, I know spina bifida comes with a lot of little tokens. There's deformities of, well, that's another heavy word that I don't like. It comes with unique placings and art. We're all art. Such as feet issues, scars, whatever. But sit in the mirror and look at that. Ask yourself why it is you don't care to see it, why you don't appreciate it. And do that every day. If you can do it twice a day, I will tell you, you don't have to start out as massive as I did, but do it just piece every day, and tear down your own walls, because I'm a firm believer that walls of self-protection are also walls of self-imprisonment. And when we get in there, by the time we build them so high, we cannot get out, and we can't reach for help, and no one can get in. So let's break those down, and the first place we have to do that is in the mirror. We don't look for it externally, because you won't find anyone, I don't care how close they are, or what they do for you. That includes parents. No one can do for you what you do for you. And no one will contribute to you unless you contribute to you. And like I said, that includes getting in the mirror every day. If you have to start out with just a compact, do it. You don't have to say anything right away. Just examine yourself slowly but surely. Spend time with you. Like I said, please, it's a must. If you don't do anything else for you for the rest of the year, spend at least 5 to 10 minutes with yourself every day. And just continuously tell yourself in your head, I love you. I love you. I'm here. I accept you. There's no acceptance greater than the acceptance you have for yourself. And like I said, parents, please do this mirror exercise. If you can't do it with yourself, please do it with your child. It's extremely important. After I did that, it still took me a while to fully look at myself and appreciate myself. But after the first month of doing that, I got even more raw, even more bold, I guess you can say, more out there. So now for me, if it's not tight clothing, I tend not to move toward it. I'm like, well, those pants, I need to be able to see the outline of my soul. So if they're not tight, I'm not wearing it. And push your limits. Push them every day. If you feel uncomfortable stepping outside in a bra, put on the bra and step outside. Or open the door and sit in the door. Push the limits. Look at yourself and know that you are beautiful. I don't care who says you're not. You are. Please do that for yourself. I can't tell you how much. Come see me. If you like, let's go out. Let's do stuff. Life is to be lived. We can't stay cooped up. And again, parents, and counseling probably is a hard term as well. But I would say speak with someone that you know can influence you in a good way, to help to see you differently first, so that it helps you to see your child differently, and not just through the filter of they have a condition, or they have this, or they have that. That's very important also.
Lastly, I'd like you to speak to those who are responsible for legislation, policies, including commissions, or whoever is responsible for this community, so that when they sit there and try to make opportunities, they have in the back of their mind at all times who they're actually working on behalf of. I think sometimes as humans we forget who we're working for, or who we're trying to make life better for. That should be always in the front of our minds, I think.
I think, to me, for anyone that reads the Bible or whatever it is that you do, the greatest sin to me, and I will go to my grave believing this wholeheartedly, is if you come through this life and you don't do anything to help your fellow man. That is the greatest sin of all. I don't care who you are, what religion you are, what it is you believe in. That right there, that's it. Remember that you're fighting for, or you're fighting on behalf of, or standing with, or next to, whatever, human beings, souls. It's just, it's a meat suit. We're not these. You're not these. If you're normal, you want to call yourself normal, that's fine. But you're also not the body that you stand in. It's a vehicle that we use for right now, to make a point on people that need to learn compassion and understanding. Fight to the death for someone that doesn't have a voice. You'll feel the tug at your heart, you'll feel it at your soul. We all, no matter who it is, we all need people to speak up for us at some point or another, because we're unable to, or because we're unwilling to. Get out into the street. Make sure that people are not just seen, but heard, appreciated. Before you make any judgments or any decisions on anything, sit with a group of people, a group of us, and ask questions. What would you like to see? How would you like to feel if you went here or there? Take it all in. Sit with it. Don't just make a quick decision and think that's the end of it. And like I said, remember that you're dealing with human beings. No one likes to be or feel less than. And when you get in there doing whatever job it is you have to do to represent anybody, do it to the best of your ability. If you can't, remove yourself and put someone there that can do it. We don't need anyone that's going to, I'll try and refrain from putting harsh language in there. We don't need anyone that's going to represent anybody that's going to do it halfway. When you do things, you have to do it with your whole self and not just half of you. So if you're not feeling it, speak up, get out. We need strong people. We as a community, we as a whole, we need strong people for representation for whatever it is that you're going out there for. And be sure that you're willing to go the whole 9 yards. Please. And remember to have understanding in everything that you do, including compassion, because that opens your eyes. Compassion is the glasses that we should all see through all the time. We need those. And spend time in just the world. Go around the world, even if it's just on your laptop, your computers, whatever it is. There's a lot of knowledge out there to be had. Go out there and get it. Apply it. And like I said, remember that we also have a voice. So don't just make decisions on behalf of us. Sit with us and make sure that we're appreciative of what you're doing. Now, Henry's his name.
You named it? You named your king?
You have to.
Oh, yeah.
Henry, good boy.